This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, everybody, and welcome. This is Jackie with the Feminine Legacy Podcast, and I'm here today joined by a beloved sister, Abigail Mensah-Bonsu. Did I do that okay?
You did.
All right, perfect. And I'm very excited to bring her on and to share space with her today and talk about legacy and the work and all the goodness. So, welcome. So, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, Jacqueline. And I hope it's okay to call you Jacqueline
Please do.
because I
Please
love that
do.
name.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming on. And for our audience, if you hear a beautiful, joyful, kindred spirit in the background, that is the boy. And he will be part of this podcast today. So let there be lots of childlike innocence and joy here today.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful.
Yes. Abigail, tell us a little bit about you. What do you do? What do you
Yes. I guess if we're, in this day of titles, if we're to go into titles, I am a goddess activator. I'm a divine feminine mentor and guide, a number one best-selling author and publisher. I'm also a podcast host as you, and an intuitive channel. I have many tools in my toolbox, and all of that, when I put it together, what I do is that I work with women who are creating bigger impact in the world. And I do this by teaching them the spiritual tools that allow them to shine their light without the heaviness of the world, trying to dim their light without the fear of being attacked energetically, like
do?
really holding their space, their sovereignty, so that they can continue to share their work in the world confidently, feeling empowered, feeling magnetic, and just filled with light. So I love what I do. I love what I do.
I feel it. I feel it. It's beautiful. It's really
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of bubbling and passion there. And that's what's needed to persevere in the work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And something that I think about often is, I mean, obviously each one of us brings our own signature. And so essentially you bringing you,
Yes.
which is, this is what you carry. This is the medicine you carry. And it opens up, obviously, the door for every woman to give herself permission to explore the terrain of who she is.
Exactly. I feel like it's very important. At least, in the circles that I'm in, I feel like we are redefining what it means to run a business. That is not, the business is you. And the business is just another form that your soul is choosing to express itself.
Mm.
So it really highlights that you putting yourself first, getting to know yourself, inner world and outer world, like it's all important. It's very important in terms of how you show up in the world, because I don't know if you can feel this, but more and more people are craving that authentic connection. Like, do you see me? Do you hear me? And it's not just, it goes beyond what you're saying to me. It's like, do I truly feel it?
Yeah.
And that's where people are buying from. This is how they choose the people they want to work with. They want more of, oh, I do feel your heart. I can totally work with you. Not the glittery, because that can be so full in, especially in this social media time, so people are learning to go beyond all of that and connect to the heart. Just like, yeah, I feel you. I'm going to work with you. So it is so important. And women, I mean, we are so powerful beyond measure that the sooner we embrace this and truly allow it to be expressed, the better this world is going to be. So, yeah.
Mhm. Agreed, agreed. And the better our inner world feels when we allow ourselves to bring ourselves fully through.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
it's incredible. Well, you brought up something that I actually want to touch on. So, the business aspect, we know in the circus of the world, the mirage, it's challenging to birth
Yeah.
ourselves in, to bring the gifts through in a way that is authentic, that is
Yeah.
honoring. It takes a long time to like really, really birth ourselves. It's not like a 6-week program.
No.
It's like
I question was, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's a step. That's like a crumb for you to follow the trail to,
Yes.
that's funny because my teacher would say, like, sometimes they have to tell you, the divine will tell you you're gonna receive this. You'll receive this power if you do this thing, but it's actually just the breadcrumb that you're gonna receive for you to get motivated enough to get your ego to say yes, to at least get in there and go. So for you personally, I mean, I want to lean into your like awakening story and what's up with that, but for you, like really coming online and you continuing to develop yourself and share your business, um, it's art for sure, and it's also it's us that keeps redefining what that is because we don't have a lot of examples of what authentic business looks like, what
Yeah.
authentic even relating looks like. Like we're still like, nope, that's corrupt. Nope, that's not true. And trying to find our like rightness in ourselves, like what feels
Yes.
true. So I don't know, lean into that for me. Tell me a little bit about what that's like.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say it doesn't have to take that long. I know for me, I when you co-create with the divine, this whole experience can run much smoother or easily. Doesn't mean you won't have challenge or you won't have the lessons to help you grow, but it kind of flows better. So for me, when I came online, I asked the divine to bring me a coach who can guide me in the direction I needed to go. And the first coach allowed me to get all my ideas and thoughts together and create something physical. And after I was done, Spirit was like, "Yeah, you're done with her. She can't take you any further." And I was like, "Great, we were just started." Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, who are you gonna bring to me? Can you bring someone to me? Because I still need to navigate. When it comes to spiritually, I get it. Like that part is easy, but it's the navigating the physical sense and creating the structure. Like I need help with that. And a mentor showed up. I remember she had just also come online and she was bold, and there's just something about her that it pushed me. This is where most people would run away, but I love that. Like she's like, okay, like she gave us a challenge to do 30 days of showing up online and doing a live video every single day, 30 days. And I remember I was like, oh, like, and she's like, your work is meant to be out there. Stop hiding. Stop hiding. And that opened up so much for me. I've known this woman for probably like 7 years now, and she still guides me. She's more of a friend now than a mentor when it began. And I asked for that. You got to know, this is where knowing yourself comes through. When you come online, it can be so easy to lose yourself in the 6 steps to this and follow my blueprint and you're going to get there. It's so easy to lose yourself. You got to step in as in, this is who I am. And then from there, navigate your way. And even that, it's like ask the divine, ask your divine team, ask your higher self, who do I need that can help me get me to where I'm going? Can you make that very clear to me? Can you have that person show up for me? Can you have that person send me a message? Right? You got to go through this avenue so you're not as what am I like confused in this social media world that we're in. That's what has helped me a lot. My connection with the divine, bringing that through, because I can ask for what I need and the right people come in. I mean, to the point where I'm in a community of women right now, which was created by my mentor and has grown over the years. And we're all what we call like heart-centered entrepreneurs. And we're all supporting each other. We're promoting each other. We're celebrating each other. It is gold in this this entrepreneur world that we're in. It is gold to have something like that. But it's because of that first step that I took that led me to this place and continues to lead me to where I need to be. So when if you're an entrepreneur, if you're online too, and you're just like us, you're just kind of like, oh my God, look at all this. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, that's an opportunity. That's an invitation for you to pause and look within. It's not about looking outside and bringing the outside in. It's about looking within and pushing that through, right? Harnessing the divine resources that are already there for you and then expressing that outward. And that's where, if more and more people can see it that way, I feel like we would get more genuine, authentic interactions online. I know in the group that I'm in, I mean, just we've become a sisterhood because that's what we show up. We really do show up. And when the days that we are, having like a bad day, or we're we're afraid to show up or share something, we boost each other up. And we also call each other out. If we are trying to hide and we don't think no one is seeing, it's like, hey, I see you. Stop that. Stop that. I know where you need to be. Cut it out. I know you can do better. So it's just having that support of people who get it around you is so gold. And that's something that you can also ask, because if you have that support, doesn't matter what you're seeing on the screen, you know what the real deal is and you can feel it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really important, as you say, to have that internal spiritual structure sound. Otherwise, you'll never be able to grow in a community like that because you'll always want to take
Yes.
on the identities of others. This is really, really challenging for most of the living world, and even me at
Yes.
times, right? Like, we have to be really, really preserving of what is the truth. So we have to know it. We have to become one with it. We have to love it. We have to embrace it. And then when we are consistently seeing people all over all over our screens, we're not consistently like, it's kind of enormous what we're doing right now.
It really is.
We're not just in a village, like just
No.
dealing with some elders and a couple kids and like,
Right.
some folks. We are like dealing with with like thousands of members of humans and
Exactly.
all their projections and all the energy all the time.
Yep.
It is big, big, big time.
It is. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because more people need to realize that, we're not in our comfortable village where we know everybody in the village, and, so and so is gonna show up. And no, we're really truly, it's vulnerable.
Yeah.
We're showing up in our uniqueness. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. And sharing that with a world that we're not even sure if they see us or if they agree with us. Like, it's a very vulnerable place to be. And it does take courage and strength to do
Yes.
that, to show up in that way, regardless,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. And one more piece about that for me personally that I navigate through is, you know, all the parts of us, we have to be as mindful spiritual beings. We need to watch the ego structures, like who wants to perform, who wants to be the lead show, who wants to, and it's like, okay, consistently discerning and being the loving mother to ourselves, like
Yes,
what's really operating here.
exactly.
So yeah, it requires a fine hand. And I agree with you that I believe mentorship and spiritual guidance is like, in the world where we hear that like you don't need gurus and you don't need teachers and you don't need, I'm like, I love
Mm,
y'all. That might be your disillusion. But for me, I know that to walk a path like this, you need
mm-hmm.
support, strength, guidance. And you need somebody who has already achieved and is carrying the consciousness you're carrying. I mean, that you want to
Yes,
carry, right? Who has
yes,
higher capacity so that you can keep growing into yours, and somebody can keep an eye on you, because if it's
it's true.
it is.
Like my mentor, she shows me where I'm going. She
Yeah.
shows me, like, I always, before I met her, I always had this sense that I want my business, I want my family to be part of my business,
Mm,
as in, like, my business doesn't run my life, my family's priority. They're the, I am me and my family are the reason why we're expressing this in the world. And she lives that.
mm,
Like, so when every time I have doubts, or if I get confused a little, I just look at her and
yeah.
it's like, that's where I'm going. She's my North Star. She shows me
Amazing.
how she walked there. And it just is beautiful because I asked. But one thing I wanted to talk about is that, I do see why people say we don't need a guru, we don't need a teacher, is to break that whole illusion that we're not capable of dealing with whatever comes, that the guru will give us the answer, the
Yeah.
teacher will give, is to break that. Because a true mentorship is when you show up in all, like I mentor her as much as she mentors me. That is she's my teacher, but she will also call, if you asked her, she would say that Abigail's my teacher. We learn from each other all the time. I don't
Absolutely.
show up as, oh, I don't know anything, like you have all the answer. I show up as, okay, this is who I am, but this is where I'm stuck and I can't see. Can you help me see?
Yeah.
I show up empowered, not disempowered, as in like you hold all the power. I don't have any power,
Yeah.
right? Where I feel like in this society, we kind of, there was that illusion that gurus know more than we do. We're nothing, even in religion, God, that's where it started, right? All that stuff.
Absolutely.
Like,
That is
oh,
where it
you are up
started.
there and I'm just like tiny over here. I don't know I'm not worthy. So I do see that, but hopefully that movement moves into, you do need a guide. I don't care if you call that guide a guru or a master. I don't care. But you do need a guide at some points in your life to help you see what you cannot see. There's
Absolutely.
so much that we can't see about ourselves, whether we want to or not. It just
Exactly.
is hidden from us because we're right here with it. We're sitting with it. But someone from the outside can see it as clear as crystal and will be able to reflect that to you so that you can do the work that you need to do to move through it. You
Yeah.
know,
I hear
yeah,
you 100%. And I'd also like to make a clarification. So I believe that here in the West, we have a lot of distortions around what gurus are. Um, we just don't understand a lot. And also, a true guru, a true teacher only wants you to show up empowered, is going to pull the
yes,
master and the teacher out in you. So that's the true meaning. It's been distorted with the church and with everything else. And there's a lot of reasons why it's been distorted. But so us honoring, it's always us pulling our own inner teacher, us pulling our own inner guru. It's just somebody is there to be able to support and bring that through us. So
yes.
yes, all of that. All of that. And so beautiful. So beautiful. And what an amazing just this touching in on leadership. Just again, leadership is like a self-developed, like nobody's gonna, you might be raised by a mother who's very strong, right? And is a powerful leader in her own right. But being a leader doesn't necessarily mean that you have a marching band outside and everybody's following you, right?
Exactly.
You're just walking in your leadership.
Exactly. And I'm glad that you mentioned that. I feel like we're redefining who a leader really is.
Yes.
The some of my clients are some of the most powerful women, and their work are so needed. And yet you would never, like, they're so quiet and kind of shy a little bit, and thank you. My little one sneaked in and opened the door and ran away. But like, they are making changes in the world by just showing up as who they are. It's like this, just like we have the silent power. It is a silent power
It is.
that they don't need to be flashy or showy. They just showing up, and it's in the everyday encounters, the everyday little things that we do that touch people, that truly create the change. And it has to be from the heart. It has to be from the heart. It has to be genuine. It has to be authentic to you, and then it vibrates out. It really goes beyond like, this is what I'm going to do to be a leader, like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And then eventually you get to be like Oprah, or some of the big people who have fallen. But imagine, I was reading a book lately. What is it called? Oh, of course, I'm blanking out. But what I loved about the book is that it brought together all these famous people like Gandhi, like Harriet Tubman, like Beethoven, that we've known. I mean, they're big. They, and their purpose. And he broke it down and shared their path to their purpose. And it's like, wow, they experienced the same thing that we did. For example, Harriet was like, no, that's not for me. I'm a slave myself. I'm not gonna be saving any, like, that's not for me. And she got the divine guidance, and eventually she said yes. One of my favorite, who she's also one of my beautiful mentors, divine mentors. Of course, as I'm saying this, they're all coming through. Oh my God. Joan of Arc. It's like I have a whole team of them. But Joan of Arc, her story where, she was so young when Archangel Michael showed up for her and said, hey, this is how you can win the war. You need to lead the war. In this day and age, if you told a child that, like a teenage, no, it's like, no, that's not for me.
She'd be
And
like,
for
I'm
her
going
to
to make an
say, okay,
Instagram live.
right, right. I'm just gonna take a picture and post it with
Yeah.
some words. That's what I'm gonna do. So I just love how he took all these big examples that we cherish them. We're like, oh my gosh, you move me, and it's like it's not like they were born into their purpose. There was an initiation there. There was an initiation in them stepping into that leadership, and they did not even know that was leadership as they were walking through.
Yeah.
Some of them, their work didn't even get famous until they were dead.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it's like, when you show up authentically, when you say yes to your purpose, when I say purpose, it's like the thing that moves you, the thing that when you start talking about it, everything about you just lights up, and people are like, oh, tell me more. When you show up and you share that, that will influence and impact people. And then before you know it, this person tells that, and this person tells that. And next time you're invited to go talk in a summit, this is how it starts. Nobody is born into leadership, right? We might have the codes that is within us, but we still have to walk the path to really live and what word, embody. There we go.
Yeah.
Embody that leadership that we're here to share, you know.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And I want to chime in too right there and say there was a time when I thought that everybody was born to play that role. And I realize now that that's absolutely not so. And that's okay. Right. So
Yes.
there are people that have come refined with like responsibility and like a greater sense um of divine work, a dharma, something to do that's going to infiltrate masses. And there are people that is not their role. And they are
Yes.
super powerful and they have divine purpose here. And they might work with just a specific group of people that are going to work with other groups of people, or they might not be the shining face that you see all over the internet, but they're going to be in deep service. It's just a different
Exactly.
service, and they might not be your client because of what their mission is, right? And so
Yes.
it's really important for women to also, I think, to just be honest with themselves.
Yeah.
What are you set up to do? Like, if you have this calling and this desire inside of you, like, oh,
Yeah.
you know what it is, where it's like
Yes.
there's something inside, like a caged animal that wants to jump out and share its teachings and share the wisdom, and you hear the messages and you know what's up. That's somebody who has an affinity, their dragon heart is present, they have things to do. And then there are others that it becomes confusing for them because
Yeah.
it's like you have to do it this way. So it's interesting to like there's
Yes.
so many roles.
I'm glad that you said that. What part of my work, I have this whole system. It's through my DNA activation, where we basically go transcribe each codon, and it tells you, for example, the 11th codon tells you your archangelic lineage, and that alone tells you a lot about your purpose.
Okay.
And so there's a portion of it where it's like, if you look at it, there's four types of people, and some of them are the healers that are connected to Archangel Raphael. They're the warriors who are connected to Archangel Michael. There's the who am I missing?
They left the question.
Archangel. So it's like, depending on which lineage you're connected to, it tells you exactly how you're here to serve, because the archangels serve the divine. The angels are in service to us. They're here to guide us, right? So it tells you a lot about how you're here to serve. But it was like 2 or 3 years ago when there was a whole hype on social media where it's like, I think it started with what was it? Black Lives Matter. And I mean, it was intense on social media where it's like everybody is expecting someone to be at the forefront of the fight. And I remember I had to step in and say, everybody has their own purpose. There are those who are meant to be at the forefront. They're the warriors, the fiery, my fiery warriors who need to be up there with your voice out and your hands out. And, that's how they're supposed to express themselves. And there are those who are doing work spiritually, and those two are still powerful. Doesn't matter if you're out there and doing the thing, or you're doing the internal work to change it. They're all needed. We all have a role, and however it shows up. I remember I said that don't let anybody tell you that how you are showing up, how you're doing the work is wrong,
Yeah,
because it's not. It's different.
it's
And
different.
we need to be okay with that, because all of those puzzle pieces, we need that to create the world that we need. So this is why getting to know who you really are is important, because you will meet all of this where it's like, well, I am the outgoing, I am the like an Aries, stepping forward, I'm the leader, natural leader, right?
Yeah.
And then you might be a Taurus who's like the mountain. You can't go and push the mountain around, but it is holding space.
Yeah.
Like they are the space holders. And there's the visionaries who are helping us to hold the seeds of the future that we want to create.
Mm.
Recently I was talking to someone and I was like, we are in a time where there, it's like the people who are breaking down the old foundations, is crumbling away. We know this is happening. It will continue to happen. And I was like, when we get to the point where all of that old foundation, all of that stuff that doesn't work for us has been completely, like destroyed, and it's not there anymore, the visionaries will stand up and be like, oh, when you ask what now, what are we going to build now, the visionaries will come and be like, here, this is what we've been praying for, and this is how you can create it. We all have a role in this, and there's no right or wrong. And I just pray that, even if you have a community where you understand this, each other, you understand that you're different, but all your roles, all your uniqueness is needed in all of us moving forward. Like, yeah, it needs to happen.
Yeah, it does need to happen. It's happening.
It
It's
is
whether or
happening.
not what we're going to see in our lifetime,
Yes,
right?
exactly. We will have a glimpse.
Yeah,
Definitely.
because we
We
do
will have a
now. We
glimpse.
we get some
Yeah.
wind now, and it's like,
Yes, we
whoa,
will get something.
yeah, yeah,
But
we
it is
do.
our children and their children who will really get to live in that reality, and it will continue. So we have a purpose. What we're doing is no easy feat. We're holding a dream that we don't even know how it's going to come to be, but yet we know that either way, that's where we're heading. We don't know how long, but we know we'll get there. We
Yeah,
know that the generation ahead will create a better world here, but they can because we are already doing the work here. It is
exactly.
all depends on what we're doing right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. That segues us really into legacy and just what was laid out for us by our people, by our mothers and fathers. And it's interesting because in this day and age, we see a lot of people not really seeing that their parents have done much work, but they actually have done something substantial for us to even be carrying these seeds that we're carrying,
Yes.
right? So like this generational a lot of wisdom and a lot of curses, a lot's being revealed and released. But the fact that we
Yes.
have the space and the time, like for us to even be doing this, you and me here right now, it's huge. It's huge,
It really is.
right?
It really is. And this is where working with your ancestors and really bringing gratitude there
Mhm.
comes in handy, because yeah, like you said, it is because of them that we hold this seed right now. And I know some of the generations had it very hard, like they were dropped in at a time where it's like, this is way over my head, and
Yeah.
they did the best they could, but the planet, human consciousness was
Yes.
not ready for that. And so they had to step back. And then the next generation came, and then it's like, okay, well, because of what you did, we're able to see where we can come in and we can start to shift this. But it doesn't mean that they didn't get to do what they were supposed to do. They did the best they could with what they got.
Yes.
It wasn't easy at all for them. So
No.
just being in gratitude is for your ancestors, the people that have come before you. You know, they're the reasons why you have the unique gifts that you're showing right now, the diamonds that you get to shine through, the golden nuggets that you get to teach. Is all from those who have come before us. And we really need to step into gratitude for them. The more we do that, the more they're like, oh, I can be your guide, I can teach you.
Exactly, exactly. And the more we do that, we get to see the different angles that we're
Yes,
transmuting in our lineage because that's part of our gift set. Right? So it's like
exactly.
when if there's sexual abuse, if there's whatever it is, it's we have a power that is able to transmute that, and we're bringing that power online in the body so that we can
Yes,
be somebody who's going to emanate that antidote for the
absolutely.
planet. It's really
Yes,
dope. It's
it
brilliant.
really is, isn't it?
When we're in it and we're like behind the wall, we're like, oh, why?
Yes.
But then when we're really, really like seated and we can see a broader trajectory, which makes us understand and appreciate. Oh, and just love up
Exactly.
because it is wow. It's big. It's
Yeah.
big.
You
Yeah.
know, recently I started receiving these compliments where, you know, people are like, you just have this powerful ancestral presence. And I was like, what are they talking about? Like, where is that coming from? And I realized it's because of, again, I show gratitude for. Here's the thing: not all of our ancestors have our highest good in place. There are those who are signed up to come mentor us from the spirit realm,
Mhm.
and we need to recognize those. And I'm very connected. I know who is behind me, and I also know that the ancestors who don't have my best interest in mind, they're nowhere near my group. Like,
Mhm.
it just, no, that's the boundary I've set, right, with my higher self. So I acknowledge, I know who is here to support me on my path, and I continue to do the work. And so there, people are able to feel that support. That it's not just me using my energy to
Yes.
do what I'm here to do. I am connected to the divine. I'm connected to the divine mother below. I'm connected to my own divine lineage and also my physical lineage of the medicine women, the wise women, all of them behind me. I am utilizing all the help I can get, so people can feel that. But it took me by surprise because I was like, interesting that that's coming through right now, and I was like, huh, yeah, because all I'm doing is just acknowledging them, asking for help,
Mhm.
thanking them, healing where I need to heal, receiving the wisdom, listening to them, listening to their stories, like how they became and how those codes passed down, why it passed down to and I'm not talking about the nice codes that we all want. It's like the hard stuff, the pain, the trauma. Why was it passed down? What was the purpose of it? One of the work that I did a while ago, this was like at the beginning of my healing phases, was, I remember I said to myself that whatever, I forgot specifically what that ancestral code was, but I chose that what it was poverty. And I said, it stops with me. The generation before me will not experience this. There's no reason for them to. And I had to do the work with my, the lineage, my mom's side, my dad's side. I had to call them in, be like, I'm gonna break those. I'm gonna break it. It's not gonna continue. It needs to stop. Thank you. I
Yeah.
know you didn't have it easy, but it doesn't need to continue. And I was born into the, what do you call it? Like the the breakers, the people who break the
Cycle
cords
breaker.
or cut the cords. Like that's me and my family. Some of us are born into that because we come in like that needs to stop. For me, I was like, there's no way I'm putting that in my generation. No, that needs to stop because my son came in with his own purpose. He doesn't need anything to draw him back.
Yeah.
Like we need to stop it. So that
Absolutely.
was my work. It's like, no, that stops with me, and that's what I chose. And we all have something that we are choosing to amplify and also heal and release through us, so it doesn't continue anymore, because it doesn't serve us anymore. It doesn't serve to be continued anymore. That even looking at the energy that this planet is moving through, it has no place within it.
Yeah.
So it's time for it to go. It's time for us to say thank you. We have gratitude and goodbye, right?
Goodbye. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love hearing you say that. I'm also going to have to put the light on because it's like getting New York dark here. Hold on. um, what was I going to say? Hold on. Let me lean back in. When you were speaking, just leaning into that space where we understand that this really is collective work. Right.
Yes.
So if you're working on poverty, I'm working on poverty, all of us are holding these different threads. There are specific nuances as to like how it came about or whatever it is. And each one of us just refining, transforming, deciding what, like making the choice for what it is
Yeah.
we want to bring forward for us, for our children. Um, it's it's huge because even when we think we're doing it alone, there are soul groups all over the world that are doing working on same things at the same timelines, and we're like
Yes.
next, boom, 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 give me the next one.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. We're going. We're going, and it becomes collective change.
Yes.
So
That's
we,
how we create. Yeah, that's how
yeah,
we create changes on a bigger scale, is by working on ourselves and
yeah,
then amplifying that. I
exactly.
think there might be an illusion that you have to step outside of yourself to create the change. But the truth is that the change does begin with you. It's what you do in
Yes,
your life every day that vibrates outward and inspires someone else to also do the work.
yeah.
Comes down to that. Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. And that reminds me and takes me back to the beginning when you talked about like I'll say social justice warriors, which I put my foot in for a second and I have a whole new understanding about that and I'm not in that arena. But when you believe that you have to do it, not like when you believe that you get to go out there like this without doing this, there's a sequence of events that are a little out of place. You'll be
Yes.
circling back. Um
Yes. It's true.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So all the work we do inside, it is truly valuable for us, for our families, for our collective, and even that is a huge job, right? So some people
It
may
really
never
is.
even make it to their business, but they're in their family or they're working at even a regular job, right? The bank teller, but
Yeah.
but they're doing the work. So
Yes.
it looks so different for everyone.
For everyone. And it's okay.
It
Like,
is.
people need to know this. It's okay.
Yeah.
I chose to be an entrepreneur because I couldn't see anyway. I mean, every time I've always been lucky and blessed to work for people that just, I loved it. I think there was only one when I was in college, and I was like, nope, I can't do this,
Yeah.
but I've been always blessed to be in environments that help me grow and really connect. But I knew that the type of life that I'm here to live requires me to express my soul through my own journey, which brought me to entrepreneurship. It's not so I didn't dream to be an entrepreneur. It just kind of happened,
Yeah.
because I was following my path.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of like, how our dharmas unfold. We don't know, when it's going to all click in, but
No.
by just following the like the crumbs of the things that light us up, by just taking those steps, before you know it, you're like, oh, or someone suggests, like for me, I would teach people meditation. Again, spirituality is like, it's the water and the air that I breathe. It's just natural to me. And I would teach them about, how to protect your energy, how to anchor into the divine mother and the divine father and in your heart. And it was one time one of my friends was like, people can pay you for this, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is for fun.
Yeah.
No, like, this is what I'm planning to do. And at that time, I was in acupuncture school, so I thought I was going to be an acupuncturist as well. Yeah, my soul had different plans,
Exactly.
but it helped me, like I was there to learn more about the human body and mixing, the physical, because I also have my undergrad is in pre-med and psychology. So I have the Western medicine in there. And then now bringing in the Eastern medicine to understand the spirit of the body
Mm.
in conjunction with the physicality of the body and how it all works together. Like it is mind blowing. I'm so grateful that I had that experience. So now when I show up, when I'm working with my clients, I know exactly, like I can go into the realm of the mind and understand where they're coming from and help them shift what they need to shift and break through illusions, and bring through spiritual energy to support them even more. If it is healing the body, I understand physically how the body works. And energetically, we can go to where we need to heal it and break through. Like it amplifies everything. But at the beginning, if my journey, if someone said, hey, you're going to be doing what I'm doing right now, I'd be like, no, I'm not. At the beginning, I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. And then that shifted to I'm going to be an acupuncturist. And then that shifted to what I'm really here to do at this time. So we are on a journey. It is a journey. It's not about a destination. It's about the journey. The soul is here to experience. That's why we have emotions and thoughts, so that we can have as much experience as possible and to advance our soul. That's what we're here to do. So it is a journey, and you just take the step, just one step at a time. Trust me. One thing I tell my clients is that your purpose, you cannot run away from your purpose. We always think that our purpose is a straight line, like you need to
Yeah.
stay in this path and you get there. But we know in life, we have to, sometimes we get detoured and we have to go right, or we have to go left. But what happens is that you will always find your way back to the center. The center is magnetized. It doesn't matter how,
Yeah.
if you go here and twirl around it, you will find yourself back at the center. So please just follow your journey, live life.
Yeah.
You will end up where you need to be. And like, oh, it's like, it's like, woo. There you go. That was something that need to come through. Live your life. Take the steps. You will end up where you need to be, what you're here to do. It will happen effortlessly. Just stop worrying about that.
Yeah.
You will come back to center. Yeah.
Amen. It's beautiful. Yep.
Whew.
We are
It was like this
journey.
big download thing flowing through.
I see your great 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 grandmother behind you.
Of course. Of course. Oh man, I love them. I love them. They are they're fiery and fierce. There's some of them that are more like that silent power, the kind of grandmas. I have this visualization that I do, or practice that I do. I will go to my heart garden and there's a fire there, and we all sit around the fire and I'll listen to the stories of my grandmothers, especially they're the ones that come through. And some of them are just, I mean, most of them are like that. They're very fiery. And then you get those that are like the mountains,
Yeah.
with the volcanoes inside, like just, oh, like just silent power, like just even staring at you, like, don't look at me, like, you're so
Absolutely.
beautiful, don't look.
Yeah.
So it just, all of this, the grandmothers, the ancestors that show up for you, who are in the light, which is very important, right? Who are in the light, they tell you a lot about who you are and what you're here to do, if only we're willing to listen and learn from them. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I think the ancestral piece is one of the richest um, reclamations and a developing of a new relationship with that makes things so actualized. Because even when we're working with our angels, which is really beautiful, we move through all these different phases of what we are
Yes.
bringing through and embodying at any given time, right? So if it's
Yes.
our angelic self, our goddess self, our master self, our all of ourselves, but the ancestral home is like when I take people in to do ancestral repair work and like they get to meet their lineages, like you get to
Yes.
feel how each texture of each line, what that feels like. And it's like,
Yes.
oh, it was exciting for me and it's very exciting for them.
Yeah. I
Like,
feel like that is our foundation. and anchoring everything else. That is truly, it's like that's where the spiritual gifts and all that spiritual work we're doing, that's where it really lands so that it can show up in our physical world, in our lives, and in who we are. And
Yeah.
so it's so needed. We got to know where we came from in order to move forward.
Yeah,
You
it's
got to
very,
know.
very
Yeah.
needed. I find also too, it's one of the areas that I personally made sure that I had a guide for that, because it
Yes.
is very deep terrain. It's also so deeply connected to our own hurts and wounds around who we're willing to talk to.
Yes.
There's a lot of fear for folks around communication with the living dead. And so mentorship is really valuable there because looking
Absolutely.
at the terrain and seeing what's healthy and what's not, and for folks who are not boundaried and don't yet know, like there's a lot there.
It can be dangerous. It can be
Oh yeah,
downright dangerous, because
absolutely.
again, not all of our ancestors want our best, have our best interests in mind. Some of them went through so much damage that there's no repair for them. And they're not happy to see you try to break through that. And that's okay. That was their path, but you don't have to be connected to that. We get to choose. We get to choose. Where our line needs to go. One of something that I do is called neurographic art, and one of the basis or the foundation of it is allow when you're drawing. It's not a line. You just allow the pen to go wherever it needs to go. Right? We get to choose, or
Hmm.
at least flow through the line. Oh, I'm gonna go here because I like. This is what feels good to me. I'm gonna go here. This is what feels good to me. It's like moving with that core intention,
Hmm.
right? And with our ancestors, like you said, yeah, I'm not like before I got to this place where I know who's behind me, I did not go in there by myself trying to figure out, because again, they can come in pretending they're nice. And then
Yeah,
before you know it, they're attached to you and making your life hell to
yeah,
live with.
yeah,
So I had my whole team with me, physical and spiritual team, helping me to navigate and
exactly.
know who is truly here for me.
Yeah,
And then now that is clear, I mean, the boundaries set. It's like it's so much easy from this point. But at the beginning, having a mentor, a guide to walk you through and to walk beside you is a non-negotiable.
yeah.
And this also applies, just like, Earth is the same with working with higher realm, beings. It's the same thing.
Mhm.
Most people think that, oh, angels, and oh, this. And it's like, especially people who do channeling work, they just kind of open because, oh, it's just angels. No,
No,
sweetie.
yeah, I learned that the hard way in the beginning. It has been a very deep step there. Yeah, I understand that completely. It was the same with the ancestors. I was just so
Yes.
excited and so full of spirit. And there's a lot of learning, but I'm grateful that
Yes.
grateful that that was my path to learn it. And I want
Yes.
to add too that even when the ancestors, those that are unwell, if once you make the relationship or reconnect with the well ones, you can absolutely, for those souls that are willing, those well and wise ancestors, with along with your soul power, can be supporting and healing the lineage, even those souls that are
Yes.
going through some of the darkest and the deepest things.
Yes.
It's just about, it's your prayers, it's your choice, and it's
Exactly.
inviting those well to come in and be like, hey, look at this. We got to take care
Exactly.
of this. This isn't our business. We got
Yes.
to do something.
Yeah.
And they'll take
You
care of it.
know, yeah, one of the I remember, this was a while back, one of the DNA activations that I've done, because I've done numerous now.
Yeah.
And I remember the lighting up of my tree. So I was standing I was the tip of the tree, and, you know, I was the star, and it just like bright light, and it just kind of flowed downward. It's like liquid light just flowing downward and just bringing healing. So it's like, I don't have to do the physical work. I can just simply be that light and allow that light to flow. And whichever ancestor is ready to heal will get to do that. And even if they're not ready to heal at that point, they will have the support they need to move through whatever they need to move through. But I don't have to go there and take
Yes.
on that
No.
anymore. you
No
know,
way. Yeah, absolutely. It's really beautiful.
powerful.
But these are all the things that you don't know until you do it.
Exactly.
And that's why we're able to be here now in mentorship, because it's like we walk the terrain
Yes.
already, and it's like, so now the souls who need that lesson, so they don't have to go necessarily through it. We can be like,
Right?
no,
That's so lucky.
honey, yeah, they are. They are. They really are. And
They are so blessed. They don't even know yet.
it's so true.
Yeah,
It's
we had to walk through that so that they
yeah,
don't have to. You
yeah.
know, it wasn't an, I know you agree with me, and it was not an easy journey that we had to do to differentiate, to discern, and to find out power through that.
And it's
None of
not
those was
over.
easy. Yeah, I know. It's continuous work.
It is, because the more we have, I mean, we just keep going. I mean, there's
Yes,
the higher the mastery, the more initiations. I mean, my
exactly.
yeah, but the accumulation of enough self-love, just continuing. Yeah, it's so big.
It is. It really is.
And to be able to keep going even when you don't, like, sometimes we see the results and sometimes we don't. We can't be
We
attached to
don't.
them. I know I have in
Yeah.
the past. Like, where
Yeah.
is it? Um, but it's here. I mean, it's happening. And one thing that feels really beautiful to mention, like from the business perspective, and I feel like it's appropriate for me to say for both of us because we're part of this divine matrix, and everybody pulling each other up and doing our
Yes.
part, is mentorship is such a rich and beautiful, um, a beautiful experience that
Yes.
somebody cares enough who has gone through what you've been through to want to lift you. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
because they want to save you. It's because somebody lifted them. And it's just like
Yes.
the ancestors, right? It's this continuous, I got you. Let me pull you up. Let me show you what I know here. Great. You have your own gifts in this lineage. You do
Yeah.
you, but I'm going to give you the piece that I'm here to give you, and pull up, and then the next one pulls the next one up. And
Yep.
so whether it's with our children or with other women or the people around us, I really love that this model is coming back for us to reform and reshape in a way that is like quite
Yes.
divine. So
Yes.
that way, because it's been kind of I don't want to say extinct, but it's like, what, you were a senior in high school and maybe I mean, you were like a freshman and a senior came and helped you, to
Yes.
class your first days, right? But who is doing that all the time? Like, we've been at a
Mm-hmm.
time where our generation, most of us didn't have spiritual mothers and fathers. Like, our
Exactly.
parents weren't carrying it in that way.
Yep.
Now we get to become the embodiment of that, and just like surplus, and like,
Yes.
okay, who are the peoples that I'm here to serve and to elevate? And it's done with, because one, I didn't have it, so I know what it's like not to have it, so now I want to serve it with my whole heart so that you have it
Yes.
easier. You have the freaking truth. You know you're a spiritual being, instead of like waking up one day like crazy town, like, what is going on? No one even told me. No one told me I'm made of elements. No one told me
Right?
that there's ancestors. Like, no one even told me what my womb does. Like, sorry, honey, you'll figure it out. So,
Oh man.
so now we have it.
Yeah.
So just blessing, it's huge.
It is big. I wanted to share one thing that my one of my spiritual teachers taught me. Um, she's in terms of leadership. One thing that she said is that in the way you lead, well, what society has taught us is that, let's say this, like this cave, and there's just people throwing crap at each other, like poop at each other. And here you are, you can choose to hold the lamp and illuminate the path for them to follow and get out of it. Or you can get in there and start throwing, poop at each other and join in that or like what am I looking for? In whatever that thing is like You don't need to get in there and get poop all over you and all. You just have to hold the light, and whoever is ready will see the illuminated path and walk their way out of the cave.
Yes.
And that stuck with me because it's so important. It's not about rescuing people. People have to come to a place where it's like, I can no longer continue doing this.
Mhm.
I can no longer continue being a victim or continue and saying yes to the things that I don't want to say
Yeah.
yes to. I can, like, they have to reach a point where they know that they cannot do it anymore and they have to
Yes.
choose. You
Yeah.
cannot choose for them. You can only hold the lamp and be like, here's your path. You can choose to go on the path, or you can choose to go back there and play with the poop with the others. That's all. That's who we are as the mentors and the guides. We are the light holders,
Yeah.
and it looks like such a simple task to do, but that is huge. That's all. The people who come to work with us, that's all they need, because my clients amaze me. Like
Yeah.
most of the time they come in, it's like, can you help me gain clarity? And I just hold space for them to talk and they hear their own wisdom.
Yeah.
Most of the time they're teaching me. I'm like, oh, that is
That's so
good.
good.
I'm going to write
Yeah.
that down because I hold the space for their own genius to come
Mhm.
through. And sometimes if they really can't see, because what they're going through is so dense, then I can really tune in and bring through connection with your own higher self and your own soul, bring through their soul, or their soul truth. There we go. Bring through their soul truth and just seed it within their heart. And then when they leave, that seed is going to grow and support them so that they can move through whatever that challenge was. But we are the light holders. We
Yeah.
no longer have to, I tell this to my empaths that I serve a lot. You are not the dump truck anymore. No, you need to stop letting people throw their trash in you, or you taking their trash and storing it in you. That's
Absolutely.
not who an empath is supposed to be.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that. And actually, when we take on other people's stuff, we're doing them and well, what am I looking for? An
Service.
injustice, because you're holding a piece of that puzzle that they need to
Yeah.
complete. Whatever it is that they need to be able to complete the picture so you can see it. You're holding hostage to that. You're
Yeah.
holding that.
It is. And it's a
We don't need to hold people's
self-sacrifice.
stuff. Yes.
Totally self-sacrificing, and
Yes.
I know because I had to learn it. And it's something that needs to be transmuted at the soul. It's not something you can think yourself through. Like, I'm not going to take on anybody's stuff, right? All that programming
It
and
doesn't
all
work.
that conditioning is like you just go into the other room and somebody would take a big dump into you and you'd be like, I feel like terrible. I just hung out with so
Right?
much. Or you go into a bar. I don't anymore, but like two people can go into the same bar and have an experience where one walks out of the bar filled with entities and the other one doesn't.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of reasons for that. So there's a lot of nuance. But
Yes.
I'm with you. High five across the board. It is not it, it's not cool. It's There's nothing cool about, you know, bleeding our hearts out and
Right?
sacrificial.
Yeah, it's not. It really isn't. I was telling some of my religious friends, just like, you know what? Jesus did come down to, be on the cross for you so that you don't have to go through that suffering. So please tell me why you keep putting yourself on the
So,
cross.
yeah.
When my teacher, she was like, I remember one of the class, and she has a cross, but there's no figure on the cross. And she looked
Yay.
at us, she
I love
says, get off the freaking cross.
it.
Of course, she used the F word. He's like, get off the freaking cross. You are not meant to be on there.
Yeah.
Like, get off of it. And so if we're looking spiritually, it's like, stop being a martyr.
Mhm.
Just, it doesn't serve anybody. If you're looking at a religious sense, it's like, Jesus said he just died for you so that you don't have to go through that. So
Yeah.
why are you doing that again? So yeah, it's just, I think it's society as a whole, religion has done a number on
Oh,
us.
it
We know
has.
this. And there's more people breaking away from that victim,
Yeah.
that number that is done. And more people are finding their own sovereignty. and starting to really know that they are divine. They are they are well, what am I, expressions of the divine. There's no separation between them and the divine. It doesn't matter what hardships you're going through, doesn't matter what's going through your life. There is no separation between you and the divine. The divine's love is so unconditional. There's nothing you can do to stop the flow of that love.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you say, oh, I don't think I'm worthy, I'm just gonna put this
Exactly.
here to just block it, you know.
Yeah.
But it's still flowing. It's not gonna stop the flow of it, and we need to, yeah, I feel like more people are getting there. They're seeing the truth that we are divine. We can be human and still divine.
And human is divine. And that is what got so co-opted. My teacher says that all the
Yes.
time. She's like, when people are like, oh, when somebody makes a mistake, and they'll be like, well, I'm human. And that's a distortion because being human is
Yes.
divine. So it's twisted.
Yes.
But like everything is twisted. It's all like
Yes.
what we call them satanic inversions. It's like
Mm,
everything with that there's a little ounce of truth, it's
yeah,
twisted to believe, to mean something else. But being divine is human and being
it
human is
is.
divine. So
Yes.
when we make errors in judgment and we're lacking discernment, just that's what it is. It's not because we're human.
Exactly.
It's just because we lack discernment or we didn't accept responsibility or whatever it
Exactly.
is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so much. It's so much. So, all right. So leaning back in, so we've talked about legacy, and now we're talking about how you're serving the women in business, and obviously so that they can serve their people. And this the beauty of mentorship. Oh my God, it's like where did it go for so long? Like I think about like after school programs, there's like a few little things in the world where you see it, but it wasn't like women were reaching in and you saw like elders consistently like preparing the next. It just became, I mean, our parents did that, so with respect.
Yes, exactly.
Um, thanks. Yes, I've got it. With respect, yes, but just the model itself, I feel like really kind of left. And there was I don't know why want to say this, but there's now there we need to come into a sense of responsibility, and we're part of this divine orchestration, right? So we're like we're here to bring this through. And
Exactly.
how beautiful that just the motto, which is the same thing, which is the guru, is you're not here to be me. I'm here to pull, here's the thing. Now I want you to be you. And everybody pull up their own lamp. And everybody's work is to hold their own light, which is
Yes,
quite a task. Right? That's the big steady task. In the
exactly.
face of the Maya and the darkness on the planet, to be able to hold your light is the work. Like
Yes.
first you have to know you have it, then you have to become one with it, and then you have to continue to dance with it and
Yep,
all the days of your life while helping other people in their darkness.
exactly. It's kind of like, we go around, like we have this eternal candle and we go around and we help each other light the candle. I'm not giving you my candle so that I don't have
No.
any. It's like I'm just, here's, you have a candle. Let's
Yeah,
increase the flame or let's light it up if it is completely gone,
exactly.
and we go around just touching each other's candles,
Yeah,
and it's
I
just,
like that.
it's so empowering,
It is.
that way that, yeah,
It is. And we're
yeah,
all part of the same one. We're all part of the
yes,
same divine flame. But the way in which we
exactly.
express that uniqueness is soul specific.
Yes, exactly.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of the whole concept of the goddess, right? Even the divine. I mean, the goddess is part of the divine. The way I see it is like, it's just, if I could put some, it's like one big ball of light, a ball of consciousness that comes down in droplets and expresses itself differently. So even like working with the goddesses, we have so many different goddesses that you can work with, and each of them have a purpose, like something that they mastered on their path. And what I share with my clients is that the goddesses used to be human like us.
Exactly.
They just mastered something really well that after they were done, they're like, I'm going to represent what I just mastered and teach other women or activate that in other women. And so when you're working with the goddesses, they're like, please stop putting me on a pedestal. I know exactly what you're walking through. I want to walk with you, but you're putting me up there where you feel like you can't reach me,
Yeah.
so it's like everything, like we are all, it's like an expression of the divine consciousness. We're here to have a different experience so that when we return, we go right back to that, all that is, and just plug that right back in so that bigger intelligence is like, has that experience. That's kind of like how I see it. It's like it's like raindrops coming down from the same, you know, cloud. Let's put it that way, right? But we all come from that same cloud, and there's no separation between us, regardless of what experiences we chose to have as we dropped onto the earth. Like we're still part of that vastness up there, or it's not even an up there, down there. It just is, right?
I think you brought in a really beautiful point, something that I see changing in the world, and I think that's just because consciousness is changing in the work.
Yes.
But when in the same thing when I said like you kind of don't know where whose power is what, there's not a lot of boundaries when you first start, and a lot of the mechanism essentially when you first start is like there's somebody who you fall in love with, like maybe Jesus comes, right? Maybe the divine mother in her form of whatever form she is for you comes,
Yes.
right? There's an opening that happens, and then there is a we say like bhakti, like, so the devotion to that. So at for a long time this is what's pulling your essence and bringing that love through so that you can move forward and so that you
Yes.
have enough openness. But at some point, we stop being, I mean, we'll always be in devotion, but at some
Yes.
point, we understand that we actually are the one we've been waiting for, in the same way as we
Yes.
said that they are. Just like I'll use Mary Magdalene for an example, right? Because in this world, um, there's a lot going on there with her.
Yes.
So grateful that she is an amazing master teacher and a sister and an ally and all the things. But she comes to pull that, she's a guru. She comes to pull that
Yes.
up in us for us to take our place and embody our own Magdalene, right? To be our own tower. We're not going to go take up
Yes.
residency in her tower. We're going to we're going to live in our own tower with our own lights on, and
Yes.
she wants to pull the lights on and help us to do that, which is
Yes.
kind of the same thing for like you and I want to do for others, only she's not in a body and we are.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's really important for women to deepen that understanding. There will be people that just channel information. Like some people will just channel and that will be their job. And then other people will become the embodiment. That means they will attune at
Yes.
every level. They will do all the womb healing. They will prepare their hearts and souls. They will do the big, big work so that their
Yep.
avatar is the living, breathing embodiment of their their expression outside of their body, now in the body.
Exactly.
It's big.
I think that's us.
I think
Totally.
so too. I think so too. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for doing that.
Mm. It is my pleasure.
Yes.
Yes.
That's beautiful. And I'll just hook on now with that then. Look at the legacy then.
Yeah.
Look what a gift makes me emotional, actually. Look at the gift that you are to your ancestors, and look at the gift you are to the next generations, and look at the gift you are to everybody. When you walk into the bank, and it's not because of your ego, it just is because you have done the work to emanate and be true to yourself in a world that is not true to itself
Exactly.
against all odds. And just because of that, your love and the love that emanates through you is changing and transforming the environment. Oh,
Well said. Well said.
it's
That was
amazing.
beautiful. Kind of just tied everything together. Yes.
Yes. Oh, mama. All right. So tell the audience, how can they work with you? Anything you want them to know, anything that's coming up?
Oh, yeah. So I have my Activate Your 2023 Blueprint, Soul Blueprint, a 4-week program that this week is actually the last week that you can step in, where I help you create a map. It looks like a map of what this year has in store for you. So each year that we step into gives us a unique invitation of who we're meant to become, what challenges will be coming up, what tools we have, and also what support we have so that we can move through those challenges with ease and become that version of us that our soul knows we're here to become. And this is something that we is part of the flow of our soul. And each year we move into different energies. So understanding what you're working with in the year, what container, what soup you're playing in, and the support that have shown up to co-create with you. And learning how to co-create with that support is so important. It's something I've been teaching for more than a decade now. And I am very excited to be able to bring that to more people. So there's that one. And then if you want to deepen into that mentorship, I have my Goddess Unleashed program, which is a 12-month initiatory journey back to yourself. So it's really diving into everything that we talked about, bringing in the wisdom of the archetypes, bringing in the wisdom of the tarot to really dive deep. Who am I? What am I here to do? Why am I experiencing these challenges? What are the golden nuggets within these challenges? Where is my power? And how can I embody who I am? So really walking through this, and the women that come through and at the end they end up stepping into the world as in, this is who I am, and there's nothing you can do or say that will shift me because I'm fully anchored in who I really am. So it's a very powerful journey, and those are the two things that I'm calling in those who are ready to take these journeys to come through. You can always find more information on my website, moongoddessacademy.com. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. I will list everything below on the under the video. And yeah, I'm really grateful. I'm grateful to everybody who listened and who will tune into this. Um, and yeah, I trust that you will receive its medicine. And yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me again. This was such a delicious conversation.
It was really good. I enjoyed it very, very much. And our dance beforehand.
Yes. You guys didn't see that, but we had a dance
We had a
party
dance.
before, just to move the body.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Thank you for that.
You're
Yes.
welcome. Well, all the blessings on all of the highest aligned participants, all of your people, that they find you with ease and grace. And yeah, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank
And
you. And thank
likewise.
you, everybody.
Likewise.
All right, take care, everyone.